The referee was caught cheering. Not privately, not in a whisper between old friends in a back room in Abuja. Publicly, on the internet, in writing, while the votes were still being counted. 2 words, that is all it took. Victory is sure. Posted from an account bearing the name of the man Nigeria has now handed the keys to its electoral future, and the entire architecture of democratic trust cracked like dry harmattan earth. Before we go deeper into what this means for 2027, understand this. The story you are about to hear is not trending on your television. It is not comfortable for the people it implicates. This is the community where those stories live. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, because what happens next in this country will not wait for you to be ready. March 18, 2023. Nigeria is in the middle of a presidential election whose wounds have not healed to this day. Results are being tallied, tensions are volcanic, and on X, formerly Twitter, a top APC official, Dayo Israel, the party's national youth leader, posts a triumphant declaration. He has not just delivered his polling unit, he claims to have won 7 out of 10 polling units in a historically opposition-dominated community in Lagos. In his own words, a community where APC have never won. He credits it to what he calls a partnership with local youth. Draw your own conclusions about what that partnership looked like. The account bearing Professor Josh Amopitan's name replied with 3 words. Victory is sure. Not well done, not interesting development, not the dignified silence you would expect from a man who even then was being considered for sensitive public office. Victory is sure. The language of a partisan, the language of a team member, the language of a man who had already chosen a side and wanted one side to know it. When Tinubu nominated Amopitan as Inec chairman on October 9, 2025, the president presented him as a neutral academic, a law professor, a former deputy vice-chancellor. Nothing to see here. The Senate confirmed him in 7 days. 7! For an appointment that will shape the most consequential election in a generation, the Senate required less deliberation than a Lagos landlord demands before signing a tenancy agreement. The Supreme Council for Sharia Law in Nigeria called it a threat to electoral integrity from day one. The Council of Ulama of Jigawa, the Muslim rights concern, serious institutions, not political noise, all raised alarm. Their objections were not purely theological. They were about the one thing no press statement can manufacture, the appearance of fairness. That appearance never existed around Amopitan, not for a single day of his chairmanship. And now, a screenshot has confirmed what many only suspected. The man holding the referee's whistle had been caught, in his own words, from his own account, cheering for one of the teams. Here is what the response from Inec's camp revealed about the institution itself. They called it a coordinated campaign of calumny, a fabrication. They said the chairman does not operate any personal account on X. They invoked cyber criminals. They threatened prosecution. They issued the full arsenal of official denial, forceful, loyally, and strategically timed. But a careful denial that does not answer the central question is not an alibi, it is a performance. Further investigation confirmed the account is his. The fly that refuses to listen follows the corpse into the grave. Nigeria is now 12 months from an election that will determine whether this democracy survives in any recognizable form. A sitting president with federal resources, state apparatus, and now a preconditioned electoral chairman against a broad, already battered opposition coalition. Every ruling Inec makes between now and February 2027, every registration list, every party crisis adjudication, every court order interpretation will be read through the lens of that screenshot. Victory is sure will hang over every result like smoke over Lagos in the dry season. But here is the question that cuts past Amopitan, past the tweet, past the scandal itself, and goes straight to the foundation. Why does the president of Nigeria choose the chairman of Inec? Think about that slowly. The person with the most to gain from an election selects the person who will oversee it. In any serious sporting competition, allowing one team to choose the referee is grounds for immediate disqualification. In Nigerian democracy, it is the law. South Africa uses an independent panel drawn from outside active politics. Ghana has fiercely protected the culture of institutional independence despite a similar appointment structure. Nigeria has voices, credible, persistent voices that have long proposed an independent selection panel drawn from civil society, the judiciary, and professional bodies. The president ratifies, he does not select. Until that reform arrives, every Inec chairman will carry the original sin of having been chosen by the person who stands to gain or lose the most from their decisions. And if the DSS could not find a tweet this damaging during a vetting process for Nigeria's most sensitive democratic appointment, either they looked and missed it, which is incompetence, or they looked and said nothing, which is complicity, or they never looked at all, which is contempt. All three are catastrophic. Because if the institutions designed to check power are themselves captured by power, the answer to the question, who is checking anyone, is the one Nigerians already know in their bones and cannot afford to keep accepting.